everyone, it's me, author Alexandria Infante, coming to you with our next review. So, just a little heads up, right quick. I wanted to clarify some things. We are doing everyone. Okay, so if you saw the submissions video, hopefully, and you needed more clarification, we will be reviewing every genre but Christian and nonfiction. Also, we will be reviewing everyone. So whether you're white, black, Asian, doesn't matter. We will still be reviewing your work. We just have certain days for that. So Monday through Wednesday is IR and MC. Thursdays is Caucasian writing. So, like, if you're a Caucasian author and you write anything in the paranormal romance, contemporary romance, that's a romance day as well. So, Monday through Wednesday is IR and MC romance, and then Thursday is mainstream romance, because just in case you guys are like sort of confused by that, anything that's not multiracial, African American, and Mexican American, anything like that is considered mainstream. So if you're a Caucasian author, then your books normally will fall into what they call mainstream. Unfortunately, it's so janky. Anyone who is a person of color, they stick our stuff in what they call a subgenre or a subcategory. So we can have paranormal, but we have to label it either interracial, African American, Mexican American, Latin American, and we are not normally put into the mainstream. So when I say mainstream, I'm not talking about necessarily Harry Potter, that kind of stuff. I mean the fact that you are a Caucasian author and you write in one of those genres. That's what mainstream means, at least in the book world. So it doesn't matter what basic genre you're writing, except for Christian and nonfiction. You can come on and send your submissions. So today I'm going to be reviewing the author Lexi Johnson. This is her book. It's called The Elven King, Elven Claim series. And now, from what I saw on Amazon, there's, I believe, maybe 4 or 5 books to this series. So I read, oh, actually, duh, she said right here, book 1 of 5. So, basically, this is the first book. And I won't be giving her a star review because personally I found a couple of things at issue with the book. The first book, I haven't read the other ones, which I plan on doing because I don't want to ostracize this author without having, given her a chance and actually reading her stuff. So I read the first book, so I'm not going to judge everything other. Because, like, I know when I read Kenisha's book, the first one, I was okay with it. I was a little upset because it sounds sort of like mine. But anyway, I read it and I liked it and I thought it was good. But then when I read the second book, I was like, this is fire. So I'm not going to negate her work at all. And then I'm not going to, assume that the rest of the series is what I thought this book was. So this book I will not be giving a star review. So there won't be a 1 point, 5 point, none of that. I'm just going to tell you some of what I thought about the book. So the book basically is, like I said, the Elven King. And so I'm doing Kindle, guys, because Kindle is easier for me and it's quicker. So if you want to send me a paperback copy of your book, that's totally fine. You just need to message me personally. When you message the Multicultural Romance Latina, you put a heads up to me, and then I can tell you where to send the physical copy. But you don't have to do that. I mean, if you don't want to, and plus, physical copies are expensive. Even to us authors, they're still not cheap. And indie authors, they're expensive too. So you don't have to send me an actual physical copy. you can send me your Kindle or your Nook or whatever, because I have both. So you can send me that, and then I can still read your book and review it online. Because I'm trying to come at you the cheapest way that you can, that you can. Not that I can, but that you can. Because I feel like as an indie author, sometimes it's hard because a lot of the stuff you have to pay for yourself in order to get that exposure and that recognition. So if it's easier for you to send me a Kindle book, then by all means, I will link my Kindle at the bottom. So if you want to, you can just send your books. Now, anyway, so back to Lexi. So the book basically takes place in, I don't want to get this wrong. Okay, so Lexi basically, the character, I wasn't sure if the name was Sade or Sade, because I know Sade is spelled the same way. But when you read it, when you look at it, it looks like Sadie, it looks like Sade. If she's going for the actual, like, the songstress, then it's Sade, because that's the way her group named her. Anyway, so the main character, the main female, Sade, and then the elf prince, I believe it's pronounced Arion. Arion. It's kind of hard because it's got that ION on it, so I'm just going to say Arion. Okay, so she basically, unfortunately, her nana dies, and she goes back to where her nana lives, because her nana left the house to her in her will, and so it's a part of her life because her and her brother grew up there, and so she was very upset when her nana died, and then she has, like, the worst luck with men from what I was reading. So she gives you a list of basically the types of dudes that she's dated up to this point. And I mean, if there's any type of reality to it, most, women of color have come across them one point or another in their life. So anyway, and so that's why I liked about it, because that part was really real. And so she's basically running from the latest jerk off, and so she decides to go to her nana's house, and she decides to stay there. So she does a little backtracking where the author goes back and she gives you a flashback of what it was like when Sadie and her brother Charles, or Sade and her brother Charles, were little and interacting with their nana. So she goes back and she gives you all of the info on that. And then there's the one scene where her nana's telling her basically about the little people. And, I kind of felt like that was Faye, but we'll discuss that stuff later. And so she tells her about the little people, and then she tells her pretty much to be careful because she's a kid at this time. I think in the book she's like 11 or 12. And so she hears something or she feels something one night, and then she goes outside and she goes to the toadstool that her nana warned her about and told her to stay away from, pretty much. And so she goes to the toadstool anyway, and then she sees a vision, or she sees what looks like a guy, or a lanky, young man, pretty much, probably like 17, 18 years old. And she thinks she's dreaming or she's having an hallucination. Her brother comes outside and he's like, what the heck are you doing outside? And she basically she's like, okay, well, do you see him? And the brother's like, no. And then the next day, the nana's like, you have the sight now. And so basically she's like, it's almost as if it's a doom and gloom thing from the way that the author wrote it, and that she's doomed to see the elves or whatever for the rest of her life. And so basically she finds out that the nana went crazy and BS crazy, and so she went and she died in that, I guess, the crazy mode. And then she got the house in the will, and now she's going back to the house. You know, she cleans it out, she sets it up. And so she's outside one day, and she sees the now grown Arion. And he's like a fugitive elf prince, and he's on the run, and he gives you like he gives you a little of his background, which I kind of feel like that wasn't enough because I didn't get to feel him out as a character. And then she sees him. He's surprised that she can see him. The boyfriend finds out where she is, which was really weird because in the book she tells her brother not to tell him where she is. And then the brother's like, yeah, I would never do that, blah, 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 blah. But then she doesn't really mention how he found her, if she told her brother not to tell him where she was. But anyway. And so she then she goes and she's trying to back away from him because he's obviously pissed that she left him. There's no inclination that there's no real backstory on this guy. So you don't know if he's an abuser or whatever, but he pulls out a gun. He goes to shoot her, or he's like threatening her to get into the car with him. And then the elf prince, Arion, sees all of this. He's seen her before because they had like this connection when she first moved into the house, and there was a connection, I guess, like left over from when she was young. And so they have like this little heated, interaction, but they're not really in a dream state, but they kind of are. So it was kind of, I didn't really understand that. And then she goes and he pulls the gun out, and so the elf boy is like, no, this is not happening or whatever. And so he shoots him with an arrow. And then they have to like take the body over into the divide, because the divide is the world between human and elven. And so basically he pulls the body into the other side, and then she meets him, and then she's like, oh, I remember you from when I was a kid, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now, I have several issues with this book. Like I said, I'm not going to give it a actual, number review, because I have a bunch of issues with it. So, one, I feel like the world could have been developed so much better. Or not so much better, because she gives you the idea of the world. I just feel like she could have given us more. Given us more. There are a few technical issues in the book, so I did see some, a few typos. And I just feel like the storyline itself, there's so much there for her to work with. Like, she can really pull the meat out of this. Because I write Fae. She's writing Elven. I write Fae. And one of the things that I know that I must do as an author is develop that world. You gotta see the world. And so as an author, coming to her as an author, I feel like if she developed the world more, because it's almost like she kind of sort of throws you into the world, and you have no parameters for it. So I feel like she needs to pull more of the meat out of that. Two, I can overlook typos. Sometimes they don't even mess with the story. And so in this respect, her typos, they don't mess with the stories. And, I probably shouldn't even mention that. But anyway, they don't mess with the story. The story still flows. The issues that I have is like the boyfriend showing up out of nowhere when she said, don't tell him where I am. And the brother agrees to that. Like, of course, I'm not going to tell him, you're my sister. But then he shows up anyway. And then the fact that he shows up with a gun, it doesn't make sense either, because there's no backstory for the boyfriend. I mean, she gives you the rundown of the boyfriends that she's dated, and who this boyfriend is as a person, the ex, Michael, and she names him and she tells you a little bit about him, but there's no inference as to where or why he would just show up out of nowhere and pull a gun on her and then try to force her into the car. I mean, if he's that type of dude, one, there needs to be a little bit more backstory for it so us, the reader, can understand why he died. Why he got shot in the throat with an arrow or the throat. He got shot in the throat with an arrow. So we kind of need to know why. I mean, was he abusive? Was he this? There needs to be a picture painted of him as a jerk off and a moron so we could be like, yes, he got what he deserved. But there's nothing there. So it's just like, he's the ex-boyfriend. You don't know if he's actually handsy, which is why she was okay that he got shot. You don't really know anything about him. So I feel like that needs to be developed more so us, the reader, can understand why he got killed. Okay? Secondly, I was a little bit confused with the Nana. Because one point of the book, she says, the beginning of the book, she's referred to as Nana. And then the middle of the book, she says her aunt. Well, I don't know, but in most families, yes, I'm Latino, so we say abuelita, which is granny still, or abuela, which is granny. But it's like Nana. Nana is usually my mom's mom. I didn't call her abuelita. I called her Nana. Or nanny. Nana or nanny. So I'm kind of confused because most people know Nana to be like the grandma, but in this book, Nana is referred to the aunt. So I kind of was confused about that. And then so the ending, or it's a cliffhanger. So I'm just letting you guys know that because there's 5 books in the series. So this is a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliff. Y'all get that? So, what happens is he takes her into the divide. Like I said, they had to get rid of the body. The police show up. They can see the police on their side of the divide. So she knows she can't go back. So she's going to hang out with him. And she hangs out with him. But he is betrothed to a dark elf clan. He decided to skip out on that. He didn't want to marry her. He felt she was too beastly, and so I'm assuming she's doing light elf versus dark elf. And then this is what I'm saying. It's kind of confusing to me. Sorry. It's kind of confusing to me because I write Fae. I write a paranormal Fae series, which is called A Light Fairy Tale. And normally when you hear dark versus light, it's usually Shihi or Daojin or Fae, Fairy, any of those. You have the light court, you have the dark court. You have the black hunt, you have all of these things. So normally when you hear that, it has to do with Fae. So I'm not used to that, so I got confused by that because for me, that it's Fae that normally goes this way. The only elves that I've actually read is Lord of the Rings, any of the Elven series like that, and I've never heard that, so I was a little bit confused by that. But anyway, and so basically my review for this is that I don't want to knock her book per se as an author. I just feel like it needs a little bit more work. The typos, which really weren't that bad, and then I feel like what's more important is the story development and basically unconfusing the reader. Because I was confused, y'all. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on here. And then I feel like the world itself, the elven world could be more developed. And so I don't want to give this book a bad review or some low stars because I don't know what's in the second book. In the second book, she might have decided to go full on and just blow up this entire world. But I kind of feel like we need a little bit more in the first book so we know what to look for in the second book. And so, like, that world itself, you got to come with it, Lexi, for that world. That world is what's going to keep your readers intact. Because, like, right now, I'm coming at you as a reader, not an author. I'm coming as a reader, and as a reader who loves this type of paranormal, which is the reason why I started writing in the first place. So I need more world built up. I need a world. I gotta have a world to be in. So develop that world, girl. And we are just going to leave it at that. I really liked her book. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying her book was crap. I would never do that. And two, I just want those things, girl. Just those things. I liked your book. I want your book to be 100% to where it is completely on point. And I did see those things, and I did notice those. And I saw some reviews online for this book as well, and some of y'all is just harsh, man. I'm not joking. Some of y'all, I don't want to review my books because you are just evil. Some of them were bad. And it's like, not to mention one person who gave her a 2-star. It's like, what the heck? You ruined the next book for everyone because you gave out the spoilers. You told what was going on in the book, like, completely, the end. It's like, I don't care if, a review tells up to the end. But please don't give away the end because then you ruin the book for everyone else. Like, we can deal with everything up to that point, which is why here you will not get an ending. I'm not going to do that to readers because I think that's jacked up. That's like going to the movie and then the person sitting next to you was like, oh, he died anyway, girl. You just like, really? Really? You just ruined the entire movie for me. Thank you. So I won't be doing that here. I will tell you up until that point. And as for this book, I really liked it. The author, once again, her name is Lexi Johnson. And the book is called The Elven King. The book is called The Elven King. And you can find it on Amazon. Here it is once again. It's called The Elven King. And this is book 1 of a series of 5 books so far is what I've seen. So there's 5 books to this series, and this is book 1, and it's called The Elven King. It's interracial romance. If we were going to do a sizzle meter, it would probably be like a good 8 because there are some, she does use the C word and the P word. So it is very, very risque. There's, there's some sex in it. So this is for 18 and over. Nobody under 18 should be reading this. I know y'all do, but on this channel, I'm telling you, you cannot read this. So, once again, it's called The Elven King, and it's by author Lexi Johnson. You can find this on Amazon. I'm sure she's probably on like Book Hub, Barnes and Noble, so you can check it out. Check it out. I mean, it's a good read. I feel like those technical errors need to be taken care of, but outside of that, it's a good world build up. It's a good story. So I just want to see her be at like 100%. So, and that's pretty much it. So tomorrow I will be coming to you with one of my housemates. We will be reviewing Lexi Smart. Hey, it's almost the same name. We will be reviewing Lexi Smart, her Christmas book. I I believe that's the one that she wants us to do. I'm not sure, but anyway, if not, then we will be reviewing probably SK. But then we might save her. Actually, no, we won't. We will be saving SK for Sundays because Sundays is our YA and NYA genre. So everything that's YA and NYA will be done on Sundays only. Nothing else will be done on Sundays because we're going to keep that like a sacred day for little ones. So we won't have any trashiness up on Sundays. And that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys tomorrow with another review. And we thank you guys so much for tuning in to our channel. And we hope that this year we can make it like really, really huge. We need y'all. Y'all need us. And don't forget, subscribe. Subscribe down there. We need the subscriptions. It's a quid pro quo, y'all. Come on there. You subscribe. We review. That's the way it works. See you guys later. Bye.